Kevin and Rachel were the picture-perfect couple, the kind you see in rom-coms. They met in college, a classic library encounter over a shared textbook. For 10 years, their love story unfolded beautifully. Kevin, a successful architect, built them a dream house, a testament to his love and their shared future. He adored Rachel, a freelance writer with a spirit as vibrant as her fiery red hair. He'd often say she was his muse, the inspiration behind his most creative designs. Their life was a symphony of shared dreams, laughter, and an unbreakable bond. Or so Kevin thought. The first crack in their perfect facade appeared subtly. Rachel started working late, claiming tight deadlines. She became more protective of her phone, a device that was once an open book. Kevin, trusting her completely, brushed off his concerns. He told himself he was being paranoid. After all, this was Rachel, his Rachel. He loved her, and he believed in the strength of their 10-year journey together. He'd surprise her with dinner, only to find her too tired to talk. He'd plan weekend getaways, but she'd have a last-minute work commitment. The distance between them grew, a silent, creeping chill in their warm, beautiful home. The truth, when it came, wasn't a gentle reveal, but a catastrophic explosion. It was their anniversary, and Kevin had planned a surprise. He'd recreated their first date, complete with the same terrible Italian restaurant they'd laughed about for years. He'd even bought a new suit. But Rachel never came home. A panicked Kevin called her phone repeatedly, each ring echoing in the empty house. Finally, a text lit up his screen. It wasn't from Rachel, but from a friend, containing a single photo. It was a picture of Rachel, laughing and holding hands with another man, her head resting on his shoulder. The man was Mark, Kevin's own business partner, and someone he considered a close friend. The background was unmistakable, a hotel bar Kevin knew well, the world tilted on its axis. Every shared memory, every whispered "I love you" replayed in his mind, now tainted with betrayal. The pain was a physical thing, a crushing weight on his chest. He felt like a fool. He had built a life for her, a home for them, while she was building a secret world with his best friend. He spent the night walking the halls of the house he designed for her, each room a monument to a lie. The initial shock gave way to a cold, hard rage. He could confront them, scream and break things, but what would that achieve? It felt too small, too predictable for the magnitude of their deceit. They had humiliated him, dismantled his life with casual cruelty. He wouldn't just get mad, he would get even. Kevin's mind, usually filled with blueprints and structural designs, began to draft a different kind of plan. A plan for revenge. It wouldn't be loud or violent. It would be quiet, meticulous, and devastating. He was an architect, after all. He knew how to deconstruct things, piece by piece, until the entire structure collapsed. He started by acting completely normal. When Rachel finally came home the next morning, full of flimsy excuses about a sick friend, Kevin played the part of the concerned husband. He hugged her, told her he was just glad she was okay. Seeing the relief on her face as she bought his act only fueled his resolve. The game was on. His first target was Mark. Kevin knew Mark's professional life inside and out. Mark was ambitious, but also sloppy. He had a habit of cutting corners on projects to increase his profit margins, something Kevin had always warned him against. Kevin started a quiet internal audit of all their shared projects. He spent late nights in the office, poring over invoices, material orders, and safety reports. It didn't take long to find what he was looking for. Mark had been using substandard materials on a major construction project, pocketing the difference. He had forged Kevin's signature on several documents to cover his tracks. It was a ticking time bomb, a disaster waiting to happen. Kevin carefully compiled all the evidence: original receipts, fraudulent invoices, and expert testimony from a trusted supplier. He didn't just have proof of professional misconduct, he had proof of criminal fraud. While he was dismantling Mark's career, he turned his attention to Rachel. He knew her deepest insecurity was her writing career. She dreamed of being a respected novelist but struggled with constant rejection. Her current project was a romance novel she'd been pouring her heart into for over a year. She believed it was her masterpiece, the book that would finally make her a star. One evening, while she was out presumably with Mark, Kevin accessed her laptop. It wasn't hard. He knew her password was the name of their first dog. He found her manuscript and read it. The story was generic, full of cliches, but he saw something interesting. He remembered a conversation from years ago with an old college professor, a respected literary critic. Kevin had stayed in touch. He sent the manuscript to his professor friend, asking for an honest, no-holds-barred critique under the guise of wanting to support his wife. The feedback was brutal. The professor picked it apart, highlighting the weak plot, one-dimensional characters, and uninspired prose. But he didn't send this critique back to Kevin. Instead, Kevin used his tech skills to create a fake email account from a prestigious literary agent, an agent Rachel deeply admired. He then crafted a rejection letter, weaving in the professor's scathing critique, but phrasing it in the soul-crushing language of the industry. The email was designed to sound like it came from the top, a final, definitive judgment on her talent. The day Kevin chose to set his plan in motion was perfect. It was the day of a major company board meeting where the project Mark had sabotaged was the main topic. It was also the day he knew Rachel was expecting to hear back from the literary agent she desubmitted her novel to. The night before, he accidentally let slip to Rachel that Mark was giving a huge presentation that would likely lead to a big promotion, a little salt in the wound he was about to create. The morning of the meeting, just as Mark was about to present, Kevin sent an anonymous, encrypted email to the entire board of directors and the city's building inspectors. The email contained the meticulously organized folder of evidence against Mark. As Mark stood at the podium, confident and smug, phones around the table began to buzz. The chairman called a recess. Mark was pulled into a private room. Kevin watched through the glass as the color drained from Mark's face. His career, his reputation, everything he had built, crumbled in a matter of minutes. He was fired on the spot, with a criminal investigation to follow. Meanwhile, at home, Rachel checked her email. There it was, the message from her dream agent. She opened it with trembling hands. As she read, her expression shifted from hopeful excitement to disbelief, then to utter devastation. The rejection wasn't just a no, it was a comprehensive demolition of her work, her dream. It confirmed her deepest fears about her own lack of talent. Kevin came home that evening to a scene of total collapse. Rachel was crying on the sofa, the cruel email still open on her laptop. She told him her writing career was over. Moments later, her phone rang. It was a hysterical Mark, telling her he was ruined, that he was being investigated for fraud. Kevin stood in the doorway of his living room, watching the two people who had betrayed him have their worlds implode simultaneously. He felt a cold, satisfying calm. He let Rachel cry for a while before he finally spoke. He said, "Rachel, we need to talk." He then calmly laid out every detail of her affair, showing her the photo, the hotel receipts he'd found, the text messages he'd managed to recover. He watched as her grief over her book turned to shock, then to shame. She had nothing to say, no lies left to tell. But he told her he knew about Mark, about everything. He told her she needed to pack her things and leave his house. The house he had built for them. As she scrambled to pack a bag, her phone buzzed with frantic messages from Mark, who was now realizing Kevin was behind his downfall. Rachel looked at Kevin, a flicker of fear in her eyes, finally understanding the depth of his planning, the cold precision of his revenge. He wasn't the heartbroken fool she'd taken him for. It was the architect of her ruin. As she walked out the door for the last time, Kevin felt a sense of closure. The pain was still there, a dull ache where his love for her used to be. But it was no longer all-consuming. He had taken control. He had deconstructed the life they had built together, but on his own terms. He was left alone in the beautiful house, but it was no longer a monument to a lie. It was just a house again, a foundation upon which he could start to build something new, something just for himself. Revenge wasn't sweet, not exactly, but it was justice. And for Kevin, that was enough to start over. Thanks for watching our story today. If you've ever faced a tough situation, remember that your strength is greater than your pain. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more stories. See you next time.